Self to my peoples.
Of course. So first, I want to say thank you so much for the invitation to be here. My name is Brandi Helena on my platforms. My name is actually Brandi Helena. I am originally from New York City. I live in Atlanta. I've been here over 20 years. So my friends in New York tend to tell me I'm a Georgia peach, but also an apple. I literally been in New York 20 years, in Georgia a little bit over 20. Um, so about me, I am a SCAD alum. I did attend spelling, but I transferred out to go to SCAD. And I'm a wife, I'm an auntie, I'm a sister, I'm a daughter, I'm a community member, and I intend to show up as an ally to multiple communities. That's my hope and my goal. And also, I'm the co founder of the Anti Racism Book Club for White Women. I know that shakes tables. People get a little upset with me sometimes when I add that part at the end. But yeah, that's what I got going on right now.
Yes, yes, I love it. I love it, and I love your content. By the way, like I probably, yo, I swear I'm not stalking, but I probably watch 20 of your videos a day, for real, for real.
I appreciate that. I love the love. I really do. I feel like I have a lot to say. So I
Absolutely, and man. And before we leave, before we get done today, you gotta say my favorite line.
tell me what you think.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I'm gonna put that on the t-shirt.
You need to put it on. I'll buy it right now. I'll buy five of them. I'm putting one on every person in here. All right, so let's get into it.
Yeah.
A book club for white women.
Yeah.
So you launched the anti-racism book club following the elections,
2024 election. Correct.
right? Noticing you noted the statistics regarding white women voters.
Hmm.
So can you talk about the initial conversation that went on between you and Davon Day?
Yeah, so her name is Davone Madison. We love Davon. We call her Dave for short. And so Davon and I are both actually from New York City. She lives in Chicago. I live in Atlanta. We just happened upon each other on Facebook. Pure coincidence. Okay. She mentioned that she was going somewhere in New York, and I was like, hey. At the time, I didn't know she was from New York, and I was like, hey sis, I see you're heading to New York. Let me know if there's some spots you want to eat at, you want to hang out. I can give you some recommendations. She's like, girl, bye. I'm from New York, right? She gave me the very New York cold shoulder, and I was, let me mind my business, right? But we laughed about it. She also has a Facebook group that was a response to the election. I forget the name of the group, but it's basically like for Black. I think it's called 90%. The 90%. Um, and so I joined that group. And so in just having conversation, we realized that we were both on TikTok. And so we started following each other on TikTok. And so the election happens. I have a crash out, an election crash out playlist on TikTok. Feel free to go watch it. Um, where I'm like going through all the emotions, right? Like of we initially felt like she was gonna win, DPRS was gonna win, and then realizing maybe not, and then this realization, this sunkenness of what is going to happen to us in the next 4 years because we are the least, right? And so, and when I say us, I mean queer, black, disabled, like we are the least. And so all of these things will impact us the most. And so that crash out playlist is there. And so Davon and I were talking about like we need to do something. That this is important juxtaposed to what the initial reaction to the election was, really was black people taking a seat back, right? Black people were like, you know what, you got it. This is what you want. I'm gonna let you ride out. We are no longer showing up to the protest. We're no longer gonna be in front row, right? And I get that, I respect that. I'm with it actually. We wanted to find a way to show up, and we didn't want to save the day. We wanted to educate. And so we got these statistics about the exit polls. They're like, oh, 47% of white women did vote for VP Harris. That felt close, just not close enough to 51%. Okay. And so this conversation evolved by asking questions like, well, we don't get invited. to the rooms that these white women get invited to. So, how do we provide the language, the verbiage to those 47% of women so they can take that information to the 53% of white women, right, who voted for Trump because they have leverage. White people have leverage with white people, right? So they get to have conversations with them that I in a room that I'm never even going to be invited in. And so that was how the book club was born, or the idea of what we wanted to do. And so I said to Davon, I said, I really want to start a book club. That was all I had to say. Davon is a master at business. She found the app. She drafted the contracts in 2 days. It was done. She was like, I just need you to sign here, log in here, and let's get it started. And we only ever wanted 30 women. Okay. In less than 3 weeks, we had 300 women. And so it escalated really quickly. We ended up having to put a cap on how many people we would accept, because we're only two people. But yeah, that's how that started.
That's wow, 300.
Hmm.
That's that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a
It
lot of
is.
white women.
I want to add though that I do think we I'm gonna quote Beyonce: "We keeping it real with people, right?" Okay.
Absolutely.
The truth of it is that part of that was reactionary, right? Because white
Mm-hmm.
women tend to be performative, and they felt bad, right? They felt like in the face of the election results, they hadn't done enough, and they were right, right? And so they needed something to do. They needed to put their money into something because let me clarify: the book club is a paid subscription, right? We're gonna get reparations. I don't expect any black woman to work for free. Okay. And so it is a paid subscription. And so I think there were a number of white women who were like, oh, I need to right a wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
so they were consciously searching for black creators, specifically black women creators on TikTok at the time to learn where they went wrong. Right. And so that's Jay and I both got a surge of followers, black and white women. Got a surge because we talk straight to white women, right? We got a surge of followers, but I think that is partly why the book club grew so fast because so many white women felt guilt and they wanted to figure out what they could do to absolve themselves of that guilt. Yeah.
That makes sense. I like it. I like it. Now, the club engages with powerful texts like white fragility, hood feminism, and white tears, brown scars.
Hmm.
How do you select the books that you use in the book club?
So we use a. I'm the book selector, but I use a myriad of ways, and so that's inclusive of my own research specifically on the topics of race and the intersections of race and other systems of oppression, right? So, race and patriarchy, race and misogyny, race and Christianity, like race and other things, right? But we also receive recommendations from our book club members. But more than anything, TikTok. And so I have a list because you sent me these questions prior, and which I appreciate. I follow people who are smarter than me. Okay, I don't need to be the smartest person in the room. I just need to be listening, right? I just need to be paying attention. So I'm just gonna rattle some names. This by far is not an expansive list. It's not an exhaustive list, but it's a good place to start. Jamila Jones, okay, Deontay Kyle, Tanita Mitchell, Kimberly Latrice, who is the author herself, Laura Danger, who just wrote a book and is on tour. No More Drama, I think is the name of her book, but it's about deconstructing patriarchy. Taylor Cummings, Shirley Chisholm Folding Chair, I love her, and Jamila Bradley. These are just some of the people that I follow that challenge me and ask of me to think in a different perspective, to question the things that I think I know. And then they all offer at some point or another, or one way or another, um, book recommendations. And so it is by that venue that that way that I find all of these books, and then I read the books prior. It's a lot of work. I read the books prior to
Yeah.
offering it up to book club at least once, but usually twice. And then most of the questions we create ourselves, right? So we're not using like AI or pulling questions from the internet, right? Like because the conversation is specific to the conversation we're trying to have. And so the book club has done, like you listed some of the books, but we talked about racism in the medical field, right? With
Mm.
what's the name of that book? With Oprah's book, not Oprah's book, but her book club. What's her name? I can't think of her name, but the Healer Sellers, Henrietta Lacks. Okay, so we talk about the medical field. We read "Dying of Whiteness" by Jonathan Metzl, right? So we're talking about how people deny themselves resources in an effort to deny Black people resources. We we read different books to talk about racism in different areas, right? We did I forget the name of the book, but it's about redlining, right? And so we talk about racism in the housing, right? In HOAs and things like that. And so how racism shows up systematically in an effort to communicate to white women that it's all been a lie, like everything you know is a lie, and it's been intentionally a lie, right?
Mm.
And so, like I said, it's a lot of work, but it is a paid subscription.
Yeah, I'm sweating already. I'm like, oh my God, that's a lot of work. And I like reading books.
Yeah. Apparently, you got quite a collection behind you.
I do. I do. My daughter just bought me this bookcase because my books was all over the place. And this ain't even this like my wife's an educator. Well, she works in she's not in the classroom anymore, so she works on
Okay.
the other side of things. But like when we met, she was a reader. I was a reader.
Hmm.
Just like books and probably in every room of our home. So
Same,
so
same.
yeah, I was like, man, when I heard about the book club, and I was like, oh, it's just for white women. I can't.
Yes, but I am working on something. So give me a little bit
Okay,
of time. Okay.
cause send me a message, sign me up. I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready, yo. Like books are my thing. Like I tell people all the time because, um, I champion black and brown books,
Hmm.
specifically black and brown queer books by black and brown queer authors.
Hmm.
I also am dyslexic, so I want people to understand that just because you are dyslexic does not mean that you cannot enjoy reading like everybody else.
Right.
So that'd be my thing. Um, Now I know you stated that the goal is to move the women from performative allyship
Hmm.
to accomplice.
Hmm.
And then you have a lot of uncomfortable. You want to make them uncomfortable, have uncomfortable conversations.
Hmm.
Um, how do you navigate those uncomfortable conversations when you get that pushback? Because I can assume that sometimes in the face of seeing that everything you thought was right or true, when you start to peel back the layers of understanding and know that that was BS.
Right.
Some people can be like, I don't know.
Hmm. And it happens. Um, I'm not for everybody. To quote Jay-Z. And that's all right. Um, we've definitely come across some women that we have had to ask to leave, um, go with God, and we have come across women who just there was like a one issue they couldn't get right. Like I remember us having a conversation about white women wearing locks and braids, and so there was some pushback, like, but my daughter wants to wear the braid. Right? Tell your kid no, right? Like and I want to be clear that I'm not saying frivolously say no, but there's this lack of respect for Black culture as a culture, right? And
Right.
so you go to the Bahamas on a cruise and you get your hair braided as a novelty, and sure you should support the locals. I'm not arguing that, right? But you get your hair braided as a novelty, but you would never wear that to the office, okay? You would never wear that to a job interview. But then I wear my hair like that out of culture, and I can't even get an interview, much less the job, right? And so Why you think my culture is a novelty and something fun to do on the weekend on a cruise, it impacts me directly on my trajectory in life, right? And so, yeah, we have to have uncomfortable conversations. But my name on TikTok is direct discourse.
Yes, it is.
I don't hold punches. I'm a New Yorker. I'm a Leo, and I'm a straight shooter, right? I speak with compassion, and if you do follow me, you'll see that I generally will start there, right? I will start with compassion. Now, depending on how you respond to my compassion, right,
Yeah.
that will determine the next exit. All right, because don't let this move taste food. I can be nice, I can be kind, but I don't have to be, right? And that's just the reality of it. And so yeah, we had to ask some women to leave, and that's okay because it's not about it's not about oh excuse me it's not about the money. It's about I need to be able to protect the whole group, right? I need to be able to guide the entire group of women in the right direction. And so just like in any class, disruption doesn't work, right? It literally is a disruption.
Right.
And so, yeah, I just handle it straight on. If I have to have a one-on-one conversation with you, I can do that. If we need to talk via email, I can do that. But yeah, in the beginning, there was a lot of pushback. But I'm actually really proud of the white women in our group to say that they've come such a long way. And I will add this that they started on their own something called the AEC, which is inside of our group. It's called Anti Racism Ethics Committee. This is a purely white woman group that exists within the confines of our book club. Day and I do not participate in this group unless they reach out and ask us a question. And the point of this group is to allow white women to commiserate about race without the the helicoptering of a black person, right? Because there's some conversations y'all black let me say this, racism is a white person's problem, right?
Right.
White people create it and they need to fix. And so, sure, I can, as a victim of racism, communicate to you how I experienced that oppression, but it's your job to fix it. And so, they've created this space where they get to commiserate and talk to each other about an experience they had at work, an experience they had at Macy's, an experience they had out, at their kids' school. How should they have handled X, Y, and Z? Was I racist when I, right? And then a lot of times, because white women can be performative, if I'm in the room, how you're going to respond may be different than
Mm.
how you react and converse with your white colleagues, right? And so we created that space. They meet once a month on the first Thursday of the month. And if they need us, they call us in. If they have a question, they call us in, which doesn't happen too often, but it again is in the confines of the book club. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Speaking about your social media content and all that, you have got to be the most straightforward. Um I'm talking about I watch a lot of social media for real. Probably need to work on that. But anyway, you like it's like a breath of fresh air first and foremost
Mm.
that you are so like straight to the punch honest, right?
Mm.
And I see sometimes you get a little pushback, a little, you know what I'm saying, hateful comments, those type of things. How do you deal with that?
So my three tenets are Black women deserve protection, trans rights are human rights, and I'm not trying to convince you. Okay. That third one is so important to me. And I'm gonna tell you who I learned it from. Sebastian Smith, my husband. There was a time in my life where I was Twitter fingers arguing with people on the internet about a lot of different things. This is more than 15 years ago. Because I felt like I had to prove a point. And in being in a relationship with my husband, one of the things he's taught me, and which I'm grateful for, is if you know a thing to be true, arguing back and forth with somebody on the internet who you're never going to see again, never going to speak to again, it really is just a stressor to you. And a lot of times people do that intentionally to waste your energy, right? To drain you of your energy. Um, and so the I would not be able to be a content creator if I had not adopted uh, this frame of thinking, which is I'm not trying to convince you. It's not my job to convince you that trans rights are human rights, that Black women deserve protection. Um, what I intend to do is offer information, and you can do with that information what you choose to do with that information. Now, I will engage you in intellectual conversation. I'm open. I'm always, that's why I say at the end of every video, tell me what you think. I really want to know. Right? I really want to know what you think so we can have a conversation, because maybe you know something I don't know. Maybe you've thought of something that I haven't thought of. I genuinely want to know. But there are people who exist just to be the antithesis of an idea, right? And it is not my job to convince those people, which is partly why the anti-racism book club exists, right? Because it's not my job to convince MAGA women that they're batshit crazy, right? It- but I will own, I don't even think it's my responsibility to teach the 47% of white women that voted for BP Harris, but I do take on the responsibility, right? And say, okay, if you're willing to learn, I'm willing to teach you. And so it alleviates a stress for me of trying to be right. I don't need to be right. You got it. Baby, you win. If you think the sky is purple, yes, it is. Okay? If you think 4 plus 4 is 10, I'm so glad you graduated school. I'm not going back and forth with anybody about anything. I'm just gonna say what I think, and I want you to tell me what you think, and we can talk about that. But you telling me I'm wrong and you're right, and I'm not. I release myself of that stress, and it is the only way that I can survive on social media.
I'm gonna have to practice that.
Yeah,
Wait, you got it. No,
you got it.
you got it. Yeah, I, I'm working on it. I'm working on it, cause like,
I promise you.
cause I be like, yo, like, are you dumb?
You know how I do it most of the time is okay. It eats people up to just say when they argue with you. Okay, all right,
Yo,
yeah,
yo, like, and watching your content, like I said, like I love it. There are times I'm like, oh, like, yo, I need to send it to somebody because this gonna make sense. It's because I be trying to explain things, like especially as um as a black trans man, right? And
mhm,
so and not being cis assumed, right? So like
mm,
I'm always in these conversations about transness and queerness and
mm,
stuff like that, right? And you did a TikTok about you and your husband traveling in the bathroom thing. And
mm.
I
Ooh,
sent
that's a good ago. Yeah.
I sent that to like 10 people to try, even some of my trans brothers I sent it to because I was at an event, right? And we went to the bathroom and I was in there longer and they left me, right?
Mm,
And so then when I came out, I was, they didn't understand why I was upset about them leaving me in
thank
the
you.
bathroom, right? And so I had to send them your TikTok so they could understand because they weren't getting what I was trying to explain to them.
Yeah.
And yeah, so thank
That's
you.
what privilege does to us, right? And I think a lot of times we think privilege is a dirty word. It there's nothing you your privilege is not connected to your morality, right? Your privilege is not connected to anything besides what society says is okay. And so as a cisgender woman, even as a cisgender black queer woman, yes, it is hard for me to accept that I have privilege, but I do, right? As a cisgender woman, that presents feminine, nobody's questioning whether or not I'm trans. Gener- Also, I'm gonna add as a light skinned woman, right? That is part of the equation. Um, Nobody generally is questioning whether what I have between my legs. They're not. And so that is a privilege that I have a lot of trans folks don't have. And it behooves me to be aware of that privilege so that I can operate in compassion around people who I mean to love, right? And so, just for the people watching, the story is I've been in a relationship with my husband for 15 years. The first 5 years of our relationship, he's from Mississippi. We would travel via car to Mississippi very often, maybe 4 to 5 times a year when we first started dating. And 3 years into our relationship, we have this conversation in the car on our way to Mississippi because every time we would travel, he would only stop at a Love's or a Pilot gas station. And it would irritate him. I'd be like, if you just got to pee, you just pee anywhere. Why do you, like, he would be like tensed up holding it. And I never understood. So finally, 3 years in, I asked the question, why do you have to go to this bathroom? Why is that so important? And he looked me in my eye and said, for my safety. And it was like a ton of bricks. I had never once considered. Now, as a woman, yeah, I consider the safety of the venue itself, right? The gas station itself. But never once had I contemplated my safety in walking into a bathroom to use it, right? And whether or not somebody would try to harm me sexually, physically, assault me because they didn't feel like my presentation matched my genitalia. It had never crossed my mind. And the sadness that followed in the fact that I had never considered this very important thing to the man that I love, right? It grounded me not just in the bathroom conversation, but how many other things am I missing? Right? How many other concerns does he have walking around in this world that I have not even considered or thought about? Um, and it shook me to my core. It really did. And it was a moment for me to talk to my star player, right? To the woman in the mirror and be like, you gotta get your shit together. That's not okay. Because I absolutely expect him to ride for black women, right? I absolutely expect him to know what my potential harms are and to be aware of that. So why can't he have that for me, right? And so yeah, I think that was a turning point in our not just in our relationship, but in my relationship to all the trans people that I engage with. It gave me a sense of compassion that I was missing and I was unaware that I was missing. Yeah.
Yeah, that like that really that video. I think it was that video that like locked me in to your content, right?
Mm,
Like locked me in because I seen videos. I'd be like, oh, that's kind of cool, but then
mm,
like that video, I was like, yo,
yeah.
somebody sees, okay.
Yeah.
And then I start seeing the videos about the book club, and then it was like, okay, okay,
Like,
I rocks with her.
period.
Yeah, like, they're my type of people right there. How is it doing content like in your 40s? Like how did we get here? How does it, you know what I'm saying? Cuz you was like I've been you've been yo, you've been on
I
your
saw a TikTok the other day where a girl was saying, my people in their 40s, y'all have lived like 5 different lives. Like every 10 years, you live a different life. And I was like, yeah, it's the truth, right? When I turned 40, I remember my husband and I were in New York for, I was graduating college, finally, years later. Um, or I had graduated and I had my graduation invitation. And my grandmother, who I think we're going to talk about later. She passed away a few years ago, but her gravesite is in New Jersey. And so we went to New York so that I could give her, oh, I'm trying not to cry, so I could give her my graduation invitation. She was an educator. She was a PhD, had a PhD doctorate, and she taught me a lot. And I needed her to know that I finished um, on her shoulders. And we were in New York City and we're at the hotel eating breakfast, and I'm turning to my husband and I said, I think I want to be a content creator. And that was when I turned 40, and that was all she wrote. And ever since then, I've just been very intentional about trying my best anyway to post at least 3 videos a day, um, and to find topics that matter to me. Because I feel like when people start to make content about anything, it becomes disingenuous and you lose your audience, right? If it, and that's not to say I make content about everything that matters to me, but I only make content about things. If I don't care about it, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna, right? It doesn't, I don't care who such and such is sleeping with. I don't care who such and such is cheating on. Like, it doesn't matter to me. Um, Unless I have a similar story that I can relate, to protecting Black women or trans rights or human rights, right? But yeah, I feel like it's okay to pivot, right? I've been in corporate America for 20 years, 22 years. Um, and I'm looking to pivot to something that matters to me. I want to wake up every day and do something that I can't stop thinking about. And it is not the 9 to 5. And so this was the journey for me. And it's opening doors, right? Like I'm sitting on a interview with Black Magazine. So I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? I'll take it. I love it.
For sure. Speaking about your grandmother,
Yeah.
you said that she taught you how to think, not what to think.
Yeah.
How how do you instill that same critical thinking in members of your book club?
The same way she taught me, which is my grandmother believed that the best forms of ourselves are as toddlers. When toddlers can't stop asking why, right? It's because they don't know anything. And they think you do. They think you know everything. But somewhere along the way, as we grow into out of toddlers into like young adults and teenagers, we think we know everything and nobody can tell us nothing, right? And I get it, that's part of your frontal lobe, and I get all that, right? But the inquisitiveness that toddlers have, we lose that and we stop asking why at some point. And she just genuinely believed that the inquisitiveness of a child, the way, think about a kindergarten classroom or a first grade classroom, there's things for kids to touch, like sensory items and pictures, and everything's colorful, right? Because you want the child to walk in and, as they're inquisitive, learn on their own. And then you can explain what needs to be explained, right? But they want to experience. And I think that when we lose the ability to ask why, we stop growing. And so for me, there's a why in everything, right? So we'll talk about, for example, White Fragility by Robert D. Ridgwell, which we did happen to, we were lucky enough to have a fireside chat with Robin DiAngelo,
Okay.
with our book club members, and with Dr. Beverly Daniel Tatum, the author of Why Do All the Black Kids Get Together in the Cafeteria? Why are all the Black kids getting together in the cafeteria? And so when we're reading White Fragility, right, it's this conversation of a white woman speaking to white people, which I think is important to point out, because it initially I was offended at the book because I felt like she was explaining racism to me. And when I came to the realization she wasn't talking to me, right, I was able to appreciate the book from a different place. But in reading that book, a lot of white women pulled away and were like, "Oh, this thing over here was a lie, or this thing over here wasn't true." Um, and so you can't just go, "Oh, that was a lie," and move on with your life. You got to ask, "Well, why did they lie to you? And who was lying? And how do they benefit from that lie? And you benefit from the lie? Who is benefiting from, like, it's the who, what, why, when, where, right? That the questions. And you gotta peel it back. We do compare and contrast. We talk about who the audience is of any media, right? We've just finished reading Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And we talked about the fact that the book is written from the perspective of him writing a love letter to his son about what it is to be a Black person or a Black man in this country. And so we talk about, well, yeah, if he just wanted to write the book to his son, he wouldn't have published it, right? And so, yes, it's to his son, but it gives Toni Morrison, right? It gives, I'm not writing for the white gaze. I'm
Right.
writing for my people, by my people, to my people, right? And so then, if you acknowledge that as a white person, you're reading this book, what is your role in reading the book as a bystander, right? And then how do you address the fact that you are not center of attention as a white person? That was a lot for them to cope with, right? Like, you don't have to be the center of attention in everything. This book is not about you, it's not for you. And while we're talking about the racism that people that look like you exhibit, it's about the experience of the people who are being victimized, right? And so again, who, what, where, when, and why is how you instill this sense of I'm not trying to teach you what to think. I'm trying to teach you how to ask important questions. And as you ask those questions, you will begin to peel back those layers and you'll become more confident, right? So now the next time you're faced with a system of oppression, it may not be racism, right? You'll be like, well, who benefits from men asking women, why were you there at 3 in the morning?
Mm.
Who benefits from asking women, why was she wearing a short skirt? It ain't women. Women don't benefit from that, right? And so you get these skill sets, right, that you can pick up and put down on any other system or form of oppression. And so that is the goal in our booklet. Yeah.
I love it. Now, how do you instill that same thought process about um how to think, not what to think, in your nephew as a TT?
So I love I love my nephew down bad. I have this affirmation that I taught him since he was 1 year old. He's gotten better at saying it, but it's I'm smart, I'm kind, I'm smart, I'm kind, I love myself, and I can do anything, right? And so the intention behind that affirmation is for him to understand that kindness is an expectation, right? Not niceness, but kindness and compassion are expectations. And then I love myself. When I love myself, I then it's not to say you can't love other things and other people without loving yourself, but your self love should be the base, right? Of anything. And then I can do anything really is about the what, the where, the why, the when, right? It is expansive. It is anything you can imagine you can do. You can be a content creator at 40 if you want to be. You can go back to school and finish if you want to. You can do you can play soccer this week, you can play basketball next week, do whatever it is you want to do. But I'm really very proud of my nephew because I just did a TikTok where uh, I was sharing with my audience. Well, I asked him for kids, and he said no. I said, "Well, can teachers with kids?" He said, "No." I said, "Well, can I have a hug?" And he looked at me and said, he said, "Well, somebody say no. What means no?" That took me out. I said, "Well, come on." He hopped right up off my lap and went about his business. And I said, "Who told me?" And I shared it with my sister. I was so proud of him, not just because he could say no to me, but because I'm authority, right? And so a lot of times we teach kids to hug and kiss our family members, even against their will, because they're authority. And it leads, the majority of essay and PDFs and all that, it's internal, right? It's not external sources. And so it's so important to me that if he can tell me no, he can tell a teacher no, right? You don't just blindly say yes to authority. And so I think, he's not my kid, but he's my kid too. And I think we're doing a great job raising
Absolutely.
an innocent 4-year-old little boy.
Absolutely. TTs matter.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, in your content, you frequently discuss concepts like Jade.
Mhm.
Justify, argue, defend, explain. As a power move used to avoid accountability, how do you handle pushback and defensiveness you inadvertently receive?
In my comment section in particular, I start with inclusivity. I start there because maybe you didn't understand something. Maybe there was something I left unsaid, and I want to leave space for that. But the internet is a fickle place, right? And so, yes, there are some people who genuinely don't know, don't understand, and they're seeking clarity, and maybe they don't know how to ask for that clarity. Also, they're just jackasses, right? That exist on the internet and mean you harm. They mean to dismiss you. They mean to belittle you, make you try to make you feel small. And so I try to lead with curiosity, and then depending on the response, again, I'm not trying to convince you, right? So excuse the language. I might just say, "Girl, fuck you." I might. It'll come. I just said it yesterday to somebody, right? Um, Somebody else, I did a video about things I don't like about white women, and a white woman literally just put crying eyes in the comments. I said, "Girl, what are you crying about? Like, here y'all go with the white tears. Like, I'm not in the mood, right?" But then there's other people who ask the question, and like I just did a video where a lot of it went viral on TikTok, and a lot of white women. I plan on making a response video. A lot of white women are like, "Thank you so much for the compassion that you used in this video. You were so kind." I appreciate that, but I also want you to interrogate why you need that. I
Mm,
want you to interrogate why you need somebody to hold your hand to hear something, right? Because I don't have that privilege as a black queer woman living in the South, right? I I have to be able to hear a message whether you mean it nicely or not,
right.
because I got to get what I came for, right? If I'm in your class and you don't like black people, guess what? I still got to get this degree, baby. I still got to get this A. I still got to
Right.
get what I came for. So I don't get to pick and choose if I like your tone. I
Mm,
don't, right? And then on top of that, black people have every right to talk to you crazy about racism. And you
absolutely.
needing somebody to coddle you and hold your damn hand is ludicrous to me, right? So feel blessed, right? Feel like one in a number. Be appreciative that somebody took the time out that day to talk to you soft,
Yo.
because I don't owe that to you, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, interrogate why you need
Why
to
you
let
need
people
that?
be like, Karen, I understand the question, Emily, and listen, is it possible, right? Like, why do you need somebody to, and that actually leads into another video. You done got my juices on now. Like, I did another video recently about the Delta Lounge, right? And
Mm,
how my husband and I welcome to Delta Lounge. It's a sign. It says scamming. You scan the code, and as I'm scanning it, I see people who are already standing there realize, oh, I should have scanned the code. So they do it after me, and you
I
can
saw
see
that.
their participation, right? Then all the other white people that walk up are like, oh, what do I do? And like nobody just reads the damn sign. All the black people, all the people of color that walk up scan the sign, no problem. And it just was so clear to me how so many times white people just live their lives in this existence of weaponizing competence that
Mm,
requires the people around them to figure out their lives and fix their lives for white people around. And it just irritates it just irritates me so badly, because why, if I can read, I know you can.
you can
You didn't make
read.
it to the airport without reading. Right. And I want to leave space, or maybe you can't read. Like, yes, there are some illiterate people, and I don't mean to be ableist. I apologize. Right. But I'm just saying the far majority of white people can read a sign that says scan me, right,
Absolutely.
without crashing out. Excuse me. So it's just the weaponized incompetence is what sends me most of the time. And I fear that is the one thing that I don't have patience, or like I feel like I do a really good job of like being calm,
I was about to
staying
say
focused.
you be
Yeah.
even
And
when you like even when you wilding out, you like being
yeah,
on the.
yeah. I think I do a really, and let me tell you, it comes from 16 years of experience in retail.
Mm,
Okay. I have dealt with people throwing things at me, calling me names, cussing me outright. And so anybody who worked in retail knows it's not for the weak-hearted, right? And I often had to choose whether or not I was going to get my paycheck or get my lick back. And I had to choose my check every time. You know what I'm saying? And so
every
it,
time.
it required of me to find a way to navigate people being disrespectful in order to maintain my well-being.
Mm,
And so that is how I hone this skill. I remember people telling me all the time, you do such a, like, people would be screaming, ah, and I'll be like, thank you so much for sharing that with me. I really appreciate that. Tell me what I can do to make this right in the moment. Right? Like, I'm really good at that. I can do it without blinking. But the weaponizing competence in like real time, it's absolute that, and white people not moving when I'm walking.
mm.
Those two things send me, like, I'm in the airport all the time. And if I'm walking and you're walking, you having the expectation that I'm gonna move, baby, it's not 1965, and you got me fucked up. I'm
I'm
we
not
got
moving.
running to each other. I don't know what else is about to happen. I'm not
I
moving.
love it. I love it. Yo, you did a video recently that you do a lot of videos that be hit me in my soul, right? Because I recently had the issue and yeah, it didn't turn out well for the other person.
Mm,
Turned out fine for me, but I definitely made the room uncomfortable, but I didn't really care. I work at a HBCU, right?
okay.
I work with a Caucasian dude, or I don't work with him any longer. I had to move around because one of us was gonna have to pick the check for. I don't know how it was gonna play out,
Yeah.
but two things happen every day that I saw this man. One, he was gonna misgender me, and two, he misgendered me, and he misgendered me, and he called every black woman girl,
Mm.
right?
They fighting with me about that right now. My, my conversation, that girl. Hmm.
Yo, and I was like, first of all, um, I am not a girl,
Yeah.
and second of all, that is if I was, that is highly disrespectful
Offensive.
to black women. But he pretended as if he did not comprehend what I was saying, and then what really annoyed me more than anything was there were other black women present
Mm.
that like the one side of black women in the room were like, yo, that's highly disrespectful. And I was like, yo, like, y'all not gonna speak up for yourself. No, no worries. I'll speak up for
Mm.
y'all. No problem. But then it was the other side of black women in the room that were like, that's fine.
And that exists. And, we're having a discussion, and they're on my platform about using the word girl. And there are white women who are like, oh, um, I grew up with black people, or I this or I that. And I say girl to them all the time. They don't have an issue. And so, again, you're not asking the why, what, when. You're not asking the right questions. Is it more likely that they're not offended, or that they don't want to have to police all the white people in their lives every single time they are offended? What's more likely, right? And then I offer it, and I use this comparison often when explaining racism to white women. I compare it to rape culture and the patriarchy, right? There's always a parallel, and it always illuminates for them. And what I said to her was, so I said, you sound like men who will say, oh, I work with women all the time and I call them sweetie and honey in the office and they don't have a problem with that.
Hmm.
Is it likely that they don't have a problem with it, or you're their boss, or the company is run by men and they don't want to be seen as difficult? They don't want to be seen as a problem starter or a bitch, right? And so they just accept the status quo of how you treat them because they don't feel safe enough to have to be able to confront what you're saying and doing to them, right? So, in that same, I know you understand that as a woman. I know you get what I'm saying. So now, accept that in this scenario, you're the man, right? You are saying to black women, I don't actually care how you feel, because the truth of the matter is, even if there are women that are okay with it, if there are women that are not, wouldn't it make more sense to just not say it, right? So you don't actually care. What you're doing is you're circumventing, right? You're looking for an excuse. You're looking for the one black woman that's going to let you say it, so you can say, see, Sharon over here lets me say it, so I can say it to all of y'all, right? You're looking for an excuse. And like I said in the video, play with me if you want to, you might get mink mink. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody ain't saying,
For real, for real. I
everybody ain't whole.
swear. I swear. Like I be like, yo, this is insane. And I had a conversation a lot with people. I say, first of all, like I should not be the only person offended in the room. For first of all, I'm constantly offended because I'm misgendered constantly here, and I am not. Like you don't understand what it's like to be unsafe everywhere you go. No
Yeah,
matter if we share the same skin color or not. You know what I
right.
mean?
Even
And then
even in black spaces,
yeah,
feeling unsafe. Yeah,
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 it's like come on, man. Like I'm at a historically black college. There are black people all over this campus. Like so just because
mm,
of that, you should feel every black person in this room should feel disrespected that this
yeah.
white man is in a place where it's supposed to be our place, right?
Hmm.
Calling y'all girls and boys. Like who doing that?
That's That's actually crazy work. That's wild.
I'm talking about he
I'm
roll
a
up with his MAGA sticker and his Donald Trump cup to the meetings, man. To the brick. I'd be like, yo,
but let me say this. You're not wrong also. And this is where my compassion comes in, right? Because I get it. Everybody is navigating oppression the best way they know how. And just like pick me women is a topic on social media all the time. I generally don't have smoke for pick me women because I just feel like they're navigating the patriarchy in a different way that I navigate it, right? But it's all like my smoke is for the system of oppression that requires pick me women, right? My smoke is for the oppression that creates a white man that feels like it's okay to call black women girls specifically at a HBC, right? Like that's my smoke is for the system, right? And not for the black women navigating that system, right? And I'm not far be it for me to tell you how to live your life, but it's why I make somebody can fight that fight. It's not for me. I'm not going to fight black men about how they should feel respected or disrespected. My issue is with the system that disrespects them. And that's always where, and that's why I say black women deserve protection, right? And that's even from ourselves sometimes. Even from ourselves sometimes. You brought up a really great point. I was at the screening for Hope Giselle's documentary, and she mentions in a speech that she's giving in the video, I'm paraphrasing, something to the effect of black people will invite Becky or Emily to the cookout for being able to hit the Dougie or the Quan. But me as a black trans woman, I'm not invited. And that's wild. Right. And so that speaks to your point, right? Like even in black spaces, you don't get to be safe because of your transness. And that's unacceptable. And we gotta, in the words of T.S. Madison, we gotta step our pussy up. Because that ain't gonna get it.
facts on facts.
Yeah.
Uh, all right. Coming to the end. I'm gonna
Okay.
hate. I'm gonna hate that it's gonna end because this like talking to your sis, good cousin, all that.
Well, we just so you know, we can do this again. Maybe in a year, some things might change for me, it might change for you, and
Oh
we could do
yeah.
it again.
Oh for
Yeah,
sure. Cause like you is out there doing the thing.
that's
I
the
seen
goal.
you. I seen you in the NY.
I'm going back next week, actually.
I
Well, no,
look.
tomorrow. I'm forgetting it's already golly.
Yes, it's already that time you going to see the
The
yeah, like
flame.
hey, I
Yeah.
told you when I say I follow you, like I mean that like for real, for
And
real.
can, and can I say before you ask this last question, I want to say this. I was floored at the level of research involved in the questions that you asked me. I've been interviewed by the New York Times. I've been interviewed by um, who else? New York Times, three different publications. Um, there's one here in Atlanta, and
Voyage, New York
oh yeah,
Times.
Voyage Atlanta, New York Times, and some other publication. Oh, Rolling Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they were all, one of them, the black girl who interviewed me, talked to me about the book club. Nobody else really talked to me about the book club, and that's fine. Um, but the point that I'm making is this: the level of research and intentionality that you put behind these questions floored me, and it brought me to tears. And so I just want to thank you, queer person to queer person, black person to black person, um, that I felt seen. And I think sometimes we do this work, we advocacy work, we do what's important to us because it's important to us and not for the pat on the back, you know?
Right.
Um, but still being seen means so much. being seen by your own people means so much. And I just want to genuinely from my heart thank you for the effort and the intentionality behind this community.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, like I like when I interview people, I think they don't like when I select people to interview. It's people I want to sit down and have a conversation with, and that I think have something that the people who follow me, who read the magazine, can get something from, right? And
Yeah.
so
Right.
like I don't just like picking people out of the hat. Yeah, like they popular, so let me
And it's
send
not
them.
given what's your favorite color. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
it's given. I actually watch your content. Like the questions you ask, I was like, oh, he really actually
yeah.
watches my content. Like he's not joking, or he didn't watch the first 10 or the
Mm-mm.
last 10 videos that I posted. Like he's been watching it, and I was like, her.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Like I was, yeah. That's because for me, um, I would be so I started writing for Blackout like 4 years ago,
Hmm.
and it was I'm like now I'm like 7 years into my transition, and I had a rough start of it, right? Because what I call the old guard wasn't really, it's like, oh, you didn't check all the boxes, so you can't be, or you're not, or whatever, right? And so I wanted to express myself, right? And so I thought about starting a blog, and then I saw like the post about um submitting for Blackout.
Hmm.
And so I put in a piece. Me and Tam, the editor, we're talking back and forth or whatever, and I wrote my first piece. And I say, you know what? I think I want to make it um every month thing. It's gonna be my column. It's called The Old Man's Corner, and it was my perspective about life and transitioning late in life, and that's where I started, right? And then the book reviews came, so book therapy came, and I've sat down and I've talked with so many different people and done so many different things that I would have never thought that I would have did as a kid from Chicago. You know what I mean? And so for me, Blackout was the place that gave me the space to be who I am authentically, to be able to speak my truth, and to allow other people to speak their truth. And so any interview I go into is definitely someone who I've seen and something with them resonated with me or the work they're doing. Then I gotta start my research, and then
Yeah.
and then I gotta send. I always get nervous when I'm gonna tell you, when I sent the email out. I said, Tam, I sent the email out, and I didn't get a response, and so like I
It really
don't
was just
know.
in my spam. And let me tell you what happened. So Joe Turner's Come and Go on the play. Their social media team reached out to me because I'm going on Wednesday, and they were like, "Hey, we'd love to do some content with you. Can we get your email address?" So I sent them my email address like 3 weeks ago, and I never heard anything back. And so like maybe a week and a half later, they messaged me and was like, "Hey, we sent an email and we didn't get a response. Is everything okay?" And so that's what made me go to my spam, and I was like, "I'm missing email. What is happening?" So yeah, I responded to them first to get them out the way, and then I saw your email, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm just now seeing this. I'm so sorry. Is the offer still open?" I didn't want you to feel like I was playing you to the left. And I check that email account every day. It just doesn't dawn on me to click the
To check
spam
the
because
spam.
I don't get very many emails to that account because it's connected to TikTok, right? So I get there's a few like business things that I get to that email, but I check it every day, but I wasn't thinking about the spam, and I felt like such a silly goose for not checking it. So yeah, it was not personal. Absolutely, my DMs are open, my emails are open. Like
Yo, I was like a kid at the
yeah,
candy store, man. I was like, damn, she answered. And she was like, because it was a really good week that when you answered, because I had sat down with Vanessa Green, who is the co-founder. Well, she doesn't like the word co-founder. She likes co-creative. The
Okay.
co-creative of Black Lines,
Okay.
and so that was the dopest conversation I have had in a minute. I gotta
Mm,
add this one to the dopest conversation I've ever had, right? And so that was so like our interview was over an hour. That's how
wow.
dope it was, right? And so as soon as I was done doing that interview, I got your email and I was like,
Perfect timing.
perfect timing. Definitely. All right. So I got two questions.
Okay.
All right. Question number one is, what's next?
Mm. Whew. Honestly, I want to go back to school. I'm inspired. I want to go back to school. Something in so when I attended Spelman, I was a history major. But I knew I was an artist, which is why I ended up on the SCAD. I did get my degree in visual communication, but I think I want to go back to history. I have a love for history. I have a love for knowing where we've been, um, and it absolutely impacts in where we're going. What history though? Like African American history, women's history. I don't know. I need to figure it out. But it's definitely going to be to a HBCU, most likely Clark.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, Spelman doesn't have a degree program past a BA. I would have preferred Spelman, but they don't have a master's program. So yeah, that I believe is what I haven't made that decision, but I believe that is what's next for me.
Y'all hear that, Spellman?
Yeah.
I need to get
Get
y'all
it
life
together,
together.
Spelman.
So,
Right.
what's next for the book club?
So we have revamped Ashes and Ink, which is open to you if you would like to join.
Absolutely, where I gotta sign up at.
I will send you the link. So, Ashes and Ink has a new host. I'll wait to mention the name because we want to promote it. But the person that's Ash, let me clarify. Ashes and Ink is a book club geared towards cisgender and trans men who want to redefine what masculinity looks like. Right? That is the goal, and so it's open to men whatever whatever and however that looks for you. And then the new host is in school right now getting a degree in psychology, and I have full faith and trust in them to get the job done. We're probably going to relaunch in June. And so that's what's next. We're also working on revamping some parts of Anti-Racism Book Club, but we didn't get a chance to talk about all the things. So let me just blurt out all the things, right? So book club, Anti-Racism Book Club, $22 subscription specifically for white women. It covers 2 meetings a month. What that means is we only read one a month, but we meet twice a month to accommodate the members. So that's usually the third week of the month, that Sunday and that Wednesday. Okay. You don't have to go to both of them. It's the same conversation, but you can if you want to. We have the AEC, the Anti-Racism Ethics Committee. That committee is specifically for white women to commiserate about race in ways in which they can show up better for their community. We also have deep dives. I host deep dives. I don't try to do them every month, but usually I don't start them until after April because it's after BTAC. But basically, we do deep dives. So what we do is we pick a work of art, whether that be a poem, a song, a movie, a television show, and we do a deep dive conversation and we do the research on it. So, or I do the research and we talk about it. And so we did Lovecraft Country
Nice.
was a phenomenal television show by Misha Green. Um, we are going to do the Khalif Browder story coming up, and so just I have honestly I have to give myself space, right, because it's all emotionally draining for me, and so I can't. I won't say I can't. I choose to pace myself in order to keep my mental health, together. And so we do the deep dives. We also do fireside chat. So we've done a fireside chat with the author of Nice Racism and White Fragility, Robin DiAngelo. We've also done one with the author of Why Are All the Black Kids Sitting Together in the Cafeteria and Peril and Promise. Dr. Beverly Daniel Tatum. The one we did for Dr. Tatum, we also raised $1,200 as a scholarship for Spelman students. And so we're doing things, right? It's more than a book club. It really is. We also have new member meetings that I'm hosting tonight at 7, where if you know somebody if you're a book club member and you know somebody that's interested, you can give them the link, and we just talk about what book club is and what it offers. If you already joined but you haven't been to a meeting yet, you can come to that meeting and learn more about book club. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on with book club. Um, I'm starting to get offers now from authors. So like Ben Crump just sent me his book to read and review. And then Kimberly Crenshaw um, wrote a memoir, and her book is sitting in my PO box right now. So it's going well. I'm appreciative of the space. I'm appreciative of the love. Um, More than anything, I'm appreciative of the lives that we're getting to change, the viewpoints that we're getting to change, the education that we're getting to provide to people who otherwise just wouldn't get it or wouldn't have access. And so yeah, I'm so proud of our book club, of me and Dave, and our book club members. So,
I love it.
yeah, thank
I
you.
love it. All right. Okay, so I lied. Maybe two more questions.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
All right. All right. So next question, and then it'll be one more. I promise.
Okay,
What do you read? What do you read for enjoyment?
I'm in 6 book clubs. Oh, okay. Everything I read outside of anti-racism book club is for enjoyment. I read somewhere between 5 to 7 books a month.
Mm,
I didn't read any books in April, and it's breaking my heart because BTEC was a lot. But yeah, anything I read for anti-racism book club is work, emotionally, spiritually, sometimes physically. For example, we read How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi, and that book tore me to shreds. I couldn't finish it. It was all respect due. It was a terrible book. I'm so sorry. I'm not actually sorry. I'm sorry if I offend. Um, his conclusions were just so offensive to me as a black person, and he's a black guy. It was just so disappointing. But yeah, it is an emotional labor, right? So books that I've read for enjoyment: Sibo Campbell's Sky Full of Elephants.
I
Um,
gotta read that
yeah, Will Smith's book, Jada Pinkett's book. I read so much. I'm look. Hold on, let me turn around. Uh, Anything by what's her name? Corinne Steffens. She's a great writer. You should read her book. Superhead?
one.
Not
Superhead.
Yeah. She doesn't like being called that, so I retract that. But Corinne
Okay.
Steffens, her books are great. I've read 2 so far.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks was the book that I was trying to think of earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Wicked, like any I like fiction, but in mysteries, it really and this is why I'm part of so many book clubs, right? I don't like the late because I have to choose the books for our anti-racism book club. I don't like doing the labor of deciding what book I want to read for myself. So I
Uh,
join book clubs and let them tell me what they're reading, and I read that book and then get to talk about it. And it works out perfectly. So I'm a part of the Atlanta book club. My friend Daniel has a book club that I'm a part of. Anti-racism book club, Lavender Liberation. I read the book. I'm not a part of the Ashes for Ink book, but I read all the books. Um, and then I'm part of my local book club in my library.
oh, you gets down. You gets down. You gets down.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
read a lot.
Yeah. 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 I'm gonna have to. But you will never put up no book recs. I'll be like waiting.
You're right. I'm gonna start doing book reviews. Because my thing is, as soon as I finish one, I pick up another one. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I want to start doing book reviews because I be having a lot to say. I have a lot to say about everything. Just out of transparency, I have a lot to say about everything. Yeah.
Which is good. I love that. I love that. Now, if I could give you
Hmm.
book recs, I don't know if you've read the Seven Daughters of Dupree yet.
I've heard of it, but no, I haven't read it.
Now it's gonna be an emotional read. I'm telling you that right now.
Okay. Okay.
But I'm gonna give you a book to pair it with.
Okay.
Okay, The Water Bearers by Sasha Bonnet. It's a
The
memoir.
Water Barris.
Bearer.
Bearer.
Yeah, it's a memoir, but
Okay.
they go well together.
Okay.
They go well together. I think every black person should read it.
Okay.
Um, Definitely those two for sure.
I'm happy to take those
So
recommendations.
like the $7 Dupree goes through seven generations of black women,
Hmm.
and it's a fictional tale, but it'll hit you. And
Okay.
then the Water Bearer is four generations of black women, but it's a memoir. It's a nonfiction book, but
Gotcha.
reading them together, mind blowing.
Okay.
Definitely. All right.
I, all right.
Last question
Last
was
question.
all right. So, my sister always tells me that words mean things.
Hmm.
So, what would be a word that you would leave with my peoples, and why that word until the next time we see you?
Why? 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 Why do facts not matter anymore? Why are they trying to convince me that trans people are the enemy? Why? Why is there a war against trans people and not guns? Why? Why are they trying to take the fact that enslavement happened out of our schools? Why are they defunding the school? Why? Why? Who does it benefit? If you're not asking why are they making it harder to vote? Why are they purging the voter registration? Why? Why? Just sit there. You don't have enough time in the day to answer
Why?
half the whys that you will come up with. Why? Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for sitting down with me. Hey, listen, if y'all are not following Brandy Helena, y'all need to get your life together right now. Right
Right.
now. Tell the people where they can
Right.
find you.
You can find me on TikTok or Instagram. Same handle, Brandy Helena. It's Brandy with an I because my mom says I'm special. Okay. So BrandiHelena. You can follow me TikTok and Instagram. Listen, I'm on Facebook, but it's more personal, right? It's like the people I went to high school with, people I went to church with, my mom and them. So I'm probably not going to accept your request on Facebook just for transparency, right? But it's no shade, it's no tea. I share what I want you to have access to on one of the other two platforms. All right.
There you go. All right,
Yeah.
y'all. Y'all know the drill. If you are not a subscriber to Blackout Magazine, I'm not gonna keep talking to y'all. Y'all need to be so y'all can see who we talking to, where we going, and what we doing. So subscribe. Until the next
Subscribe.
time, y'all be easy.
Thank you. Yeah.